All right, fellas, I want to welcome in our special guest for today's Jersey Giant session and welcome him. He's part of the Jersey Giant family, whether he knows it or not, because he's part of my extended baseball family. So please welcome Mike Bionde. Mike is a former player at Rutgers University, a former Kansas City Royal, and he's been through a lot with baseball, a lot in his life that was a lot of good things and even some adversity. We're going to talk a little bit about that today. Mike is also the founder, director of Gold Glove Baseball Academy, where his brother and his dad are there with him as much as they can be, and they run a great program up in North Jersey, a little bit of distance from us, not too far, up in Pequannock, which is right above Montclair. And I'll let Mike talk a little bit about that. But it's named, I'll give you guys this little heads up on it. Mike named it the Gold Glove Academy after Mike was the Gold Glove winner, the Rawlings Gold Glove infielder, the Gold Glove winner in 2007 after an outstanding season at Rutgers with just an incredible team that he played for. So let's all say hello to Mike, and we'll let Mike introduce himself and talk to us a little bit too.
How you guys doing? Basically, I grew up in Pequannock. It was a little different when I played compared to you guys, where you guys are part of a great organization, where for us, I played Little League, All-Stars, and then once I reached 13, we played AAU ball. So it wasn't as advanced as what you guys are involved with, so that's a benefit to you guys. And even when we got into high school, there was none of this showcase type stuff where you're going down to, your Diamond Nations or traveling all over the country. We just had Legion ball, which I personally loved. But the traveling was just town to town and stuff like that. So it was a little harder to get recruited because coaches actually had to, come out to different fields and watch you play, where now you guys, they kind of just flock to these tournaments, which is, again, another benefit to you guys. From there, played at Pequannock High School, went to Rutgers, where obviously I met Blackie, played there from 2003 to 2007. But after my freshman year and going into my sophomore year, had some shoulder surgeries, not on my throwing shoulder, on my non-throwing. So from 2004 to middle of 2005, I had 3 surgeries, labrum surgeries. So I went from playing to rehab, re-injuring, doing the rehab again. So after the 3 surgeries, finally got back into action my junior year. Had a decent junior year, not too good. It's kind of hard coming off the 2 missed seasons of hitting. So I only hit I think 260 my junior year. Then bounced back my senior year and had a great year. We had a great team in 2007. That was one of the funnest baseball years of my life. Had a bunch of guys drafted. Personally, I had a great season. Overall team, we had a great season. Went on to the Royals. Second year, spring training, got released. Then I signed with the New Jersey Jackals for a season. I was there only about 6 weeks and kind of called it quits, and then started Gold Glove Academy in 2009 and have been doing that ever since up in North Jersey. So had a lot of ups and downs, but that's the life of a baseball player. You got to learn how to handle a lot of adversity, and not only with baseball, that's any sport you play. I don't care what sport you're involved with. You're going to have to learn how to handle adversity, which will carry over into your life, because that's what life is, a lot of adversity, and you got to know how to deal with it. So it's been awesome, and I'm happy I still get to stay involved in the game now with kids, your age, even younger. We deal with kids from 6 all the way through through pro ball. So there's a wide range of age groups that we deal with as far as training with the teams and the individual stuff. So it's awesome to stay involved. I love it.
Mike, I'm going to ask our guys, as they usually do, they'll maybe type a question in the chat message board, or I'll call on one of them. I might randomly call on one of the guys during this, just to pick your brain a little bit, as I'll do.
Okay.
But, for you, we're talking about coming out of high school, and you were a senior, right, at Pequannock High School. And what position did you play?
I was actually a shortstop my whole life. Played second base a little bit of my freshman year of high school, but for the most part, I played shortstop my whole life. got recruited as a shortstop at Rutgers my whole freshman year, played shortstop, and then made the transition to second base coming off the injury, and Frazier came in and moved to short. So I was a shortstop.
That guy. We don't talk about that guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so when you got to Rutgers as a freshman, that September, that fall, right after high school,
yep.
And we have some older guys on the phone, and they're gonna be experiencing that pretty soon, within a year. When you got there to Rutgers, what was your height and weight?
Oh, Black, 5'8" on a good day, and I was 135 pounds.
Okay, so for you guys listening right now, all right, I want you to understand something. You're talking about 5'8" and 135 pounds.
Yep, 135. I walked into Rutgers at, which is tiny.
And to be able to compete at that level, okay, at that size, all right, you have to be somebody who works your ass off. You have to be somebody who is tougher than the next guy, okay? Because you're going to be walking into a place that has some high-level athletes. And for you to be able to get on the field, because that's why you're there, you want to get on the field, you want to someday be in the starting lineup, all right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be easy if you just think you can walk in and you were lucky to get a spot on the team. But obviously for Mike, he was recruited, okay? Our head coach saw Mike, liked Mike a lot, and really thought that this is a guy we would want at Rutgers. He's going to be pretty damn good for us, okay? And he was right. The coach, and like he normally always was right, our head coach was right about Mike. And I was there that fall, okay? And I was able to witness, as he said, 5'8", 135 pounds, okay, outwork a lot of guys. And sometimes you get older guys, Mike knows this one, sometimes you get older guys that are 22-year-old juniors and seniors that, they think they've already done all their work and they don't have to work as hard anymore. So sometimes you got to, find a way to see through all that and know who's the guy that's really going to help the team win, who's going to help me be successful. As a coach, that's what we all look for,
No, without a doubt.
What was that experience like, Mike? Go ahead, that fall of freshman year for these guys. What's that like?
I mean, it's definitely for me. I mean, like as a smaller guy, especially, it's definitely a little intimidating because now you're going to play with grown men who are, most of the guys on the roster are 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", 220, stuff like that. So like you talked about, hard work. A guy like me had to go out and prove himself every single day. And the one thing that always stuck with me is, a bigger guy, a bigger player has to prove he can't play. A smaller guy has to prove he can. If I'm standing next to a shortstop who's 6'3", and we don't do anything, we don't take one ground ball or swing the bat or do anything, someone looking at us is obviously going to think the guy next to me can play and I can't play. So, I mean, that's what I tell my guys all the time is if you want to get recruited or play at a high level, there's no magic pill to this. You have to prove that you can play every time you step onto the field. I get a lot of high school kids who think, who want to get recruited and they're in that stage of their life. They think the only way to get recruited is to go, 6 for 12 on a weekend with 3 home runs. And that's not really the case at all. There's different ways to stand out on the field besides hitting for power, especially at the high school level, because kids don't realize a lot of people don't develop power until college or even pro ball. So if your mindset is every time you step onto the field is prove I can play, good things are going to happen. Stand out in any way you can. And for me, a lot of the times it was defensively, but I knew that was my strength. So I you got to realize what your strengths are and play to that. I wasn't a guy who was going to step into the box and try and hit the ball over the fence. I was going to try and hit the gaps, which I did. Hit the gaps, get on base, and play defense. So you gotta be self-aware of what kind of player you are. Don't try and be a player that you're not, which a lot of kids try and do. It's tough, especially in this day and age with the launch angle and you're watching TV and they're talking all these numbers and kids get all wrapped up in this. And I know they do all this stuff at these showcases, but it's something you don't want to get too wrapped up in. It's tough. It's hard. That's where it's harder for kids nowadays is those kinds of things, is getting wrapped up in that, where I didn't have to deal with that. So,
Mike, let's take you to the injury. Okay, the shoulder, as you talked before, you landed on your shoulder, your left shoulder, right?
yes,
And that took you out your whole sophomore year.
yes,
And you were the shortstop before you went down with that injury. You were the shortstop.
yeah,
Guys, Mike busted his butt to become a Division I shortstop, and he was unfortunate with what happened to him going down, out for a full season, not knowing what it's going to be like, right, coming back from that. So when you came back, you ended up now at a different position, right?
yeah, yep, yeah,
Right, which was not that common to you, and with the work ethic and effort that you made, you turned yourself into a pretty damn good second baseman and went on to win the Rawlings Gold Glove Award at second base. But what was it like, the transition going from short to second? And of course, you handled getting moved to that position. You handled it really well, Mike, obviously, with us having a fairly decent other guy coming in at the time and being able to handle shortstop.
No, definitely. I mean, that made it a little easier because obviously Frazier coming in, you knew all along he was going to be a top round pick by his junior and stuff like that. For me, the hardest part was probably just mentally telling myself I'm not going to play shortstop anymore. I'm going to be a second baseman. And once I kind of, came to terms with that, honestly, I loved it. It became fun to me. My favorite thing to do was turn double plays with Frazier. So it was a fairly easy transition once I got over the fact that I'm not a shortstop, I'm a second baseman. And then listen, when I got to pro ball, I ended up going back to shortstop a little bit. So it's not like I was never playing short. Again, I did end up playing some shortstop and even third base at the next level. So obviously it was almost going to second base was kind of easy, because if you can play shortstop, I feel like any other position is kind of easy.
Mike, that's fantastic. Like, for these guys, understanding that they're not one position makes them a baseball player. That they're going to be taught different positions. They're going to be coached at different positions, and it helps them so much. Go into a little bit right now, just about where you were in 2007. Going into that year, I mean, obviously you knew the team was going to be pretty damn good. We did.
Yeah.
We knew the team was going to be good. But yourself, you were a fifth-year senior. You were a leader. The way you went about your business, your baseball business, you were a leader there. And obviously the other guy at shortstop, he was a leader too. So talk about that team, the experience of being on a team that you were more like a family.
That kind of goes back to high school and the showcase team stuff now. With that team in 2007, we were so good. Yes, we obviously had a lot of talent. But the only thing anyone cared about was winning. I mean, you can go 0 for 4, 2 strikeouts, you win the game, you don't care. That was kind of the whole lineup, and that's what made us so good. And same thing with our team in 2003, when we had a really good year and we were projected not to be that good. It was the same kind of thing. That team, no one cared about anything but winning. You went into the game not worried about what your numbers look like after the game. You just wanted to win. Where I think some of that concept is gone with some guys where, they go into a weekend for a showcase and they only care about what they did, which you always have to care about your personal numbers because you want to advance. But the team concept is kind of gone. And when you get to college ball, the team concept is huge. The goal is to win the game, not to, showcase just yourself. You guys got to win. So that team from top to bottom, bench guys, everyone, it was the best team I've ever been around in regards to that. No one cared about anything but winning. We all cared about each other. Everyone hung out on and off the field. We all got along. It was great, man. You can't, and that's tough to come by. That's not easy. A lot of teams, it's not like that. And when you finally get something like that, it's special, which it was for us in 07.
very special team. And, you know, it comes from the top. You know, Coach Hill was unbelievable. And also, obviously, it came from the top, and we had a leader who led off. You know, that guy set the tone. He obviously is the guy who carried us in so many ways, you know, so positive. So, I don't know, maybe Billy can unmute his microphone, and let me see if I could actually do it. Yeah, and maybe he's here with us, Mike, and he'll say hello to everybody.
Yo, Big Mike, what's up, brother?
Oh, there he is, big dog. What's up?
How you doing, man? What's going down?
Oh, look, he's got the cut sleeve on. Shoot. He just got out of the gym.
Listen, bro, I'm trying to get better, just like you, man.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, bro. You speak well. I didn't know how good of a speaker you were. Must be that Rutgers special class you took back in the day.
I took a lot of special classes at Rutgers.
I think Coach Fenster helped him a lot with the public speaking.
Oh, Jesus.
Todd, we have about 30-something players on the call with us right now, so that's great that you just jumped in. You want to say hello or anything to these guys, please, guys.
Yeah, man. Keep working out there. That's what I'm trying to do. I mean, I look terrible right now, but, hey, that's why we're home and, you know, work on anything, whether it's going in the mirror and you know, just trying to feel your swing out a little bit or going outside and running around the house. So that's pretty much my routine is getting outside at least a half hour a day and doing anything you think possible to get ready. And I know, you know, Mike's talking about 07, the team we had. I mean, we played in the parking lot for practice with yellow dotted balls. And so, I mean, we figured anything out we could to find a way to be better. And it was a really good team, man. That was really nice what Mike said, because it was. You play for each other. Like my dad always told me, you play that team game, all the individual stats should take care of themselves at the end of the year, because you're going to win and you're going to dominate.
That's right. Definitely.
That was
Thanks,
it.
guys. Thank you. Todd, how's everybody at home? Good, right?
Yeah, everybody's doing well. I can't complain one bit. You know, when my son Grant goes for a nap, I mean, it's all well, so we're good. The other two are pains in the butt, but I can give them an iPad and they can hang out. But no, it's been good. No complaints over here. So how about you guys?
Mike?
I'm doing good. Family's doing good. We're all healthy, man. Just very bored. Getting a little stir crazy. Yeah.
No, you're telling me. So it's crazy. It's really crazy down here, man. It's no, too many people are getting sick. It's scary.
Yeah, I really felt the businesses down the shore, man. I feel bad for if this goes into the summer. That's tough, man. They live on that.
Without a doubt. So yeah, we just found out May 15th, no school until May 15th. So it keeps getting further and further away, and I don't know. It looks like such a beautiful day out there. It doesn't look like there's one problem in the world. But then, you know, you go to a grocery store and you're like, oh, my God, this is insane. So hopefully.
You got to wear a mask. You got to put that mask on.
That's
well,
right.
you should put one on anyway, because the way you look. But, hey, nobody said it.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, man.
I don't know if you know, but Todd, I'm not sure if you actually know, but is that an Under Armour shirt you wear?
Yeah, that's Under Armour, baby. You can see the guns.
I don't know if you know, but they actually sell that with sleeves.
No, I see. I didn't know that. I'm thankful for that. But you don't matter what you look like, baby. It's like telling Mike he can go to the wig store and put some hair on his head. It don't
matter. That's great. This is great. All you need is Edwards on this call.
Oh, man. I feel like we're back in college again, man. Same old stuff.
Oh, my God, I wish.
I know, me too. I had such a blast those last couple of years.
Oh, God. Awesome.
Listen, hey, all you guys on the call with us right now, you know, this is the fun you're going to end up having. It's going to be years from now. You know, these guys we're talking about, it was 13 years ago. They won the Big East Championship over at Brooklyn at the Mets Minor League Stadium. It was 2007. That's 13 years ago, okay? And these two were the shortstop and second baseman and the leadoff man and the number 2 hitter. And they led this team the whole year. you know, and you can just see how they are still brothers, even though they probably haven't talked in quite some time. All right. You never lose that. You know, your teammates are important to you guys. You never want to lose that. And it'll always be that way.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt, Black.
All right, Mike, I'm going to go back to Mike right now. Todd, you're going to come on. We're going to have your segment sometime soon. You know, you'll have your time.
You guys enjoy, man. I'll talk to you guys soon.
See you, Todd.
See ya.
So, Mike, you know, you've obviously had an opportunity to be involved in baseball since you're a young kid, you know. Got a lot of good memories, you know. What are some of the things that you would tell these guys on the and for me, it's definitely, you know, you got guys on the call that they may have a dad who's coached them, they may have a brother or more than one brother who also plays a sport with them, or you know, goes out and gets practicing with them and does a lot of things with them. Talk about relationship of parent and sibling, and how you know how that is, and how you made your way from being a young guy all the way to where you are now. And you're operating a really, really good baseball academy in North Jersey with, you know, family. You know, it's a family business, you know?
Well, I mean, I became the player, the person, you know, I am today because of my dad. And he's been with me since day one as far as, you know, going to the field. I mean, shoot, since I was 8 years old, going to the field all the time, throwing me BP, all the way up through pro ball. I mean, he was always willing to after work, go to the field with me. You know, after a game, go back to the field with me after dinner. I mean, shoot, when I was in high school, we would go back to the field at night after high school practice, go eat, go back to the field, you know, 4 days a week, 5 days a week, then on weekends, just because, one, I loved the game so much, and so did he, you know, and he just loved being around me and working with me. And, you know, same thing with my brother. The best thing I could tell kids is enjoy the process. The fun part is playing in the game and all that kind of stuff, but you got to enjoy working. You know, obviously you have to work hard, but you got to enjoy it because it goes quick. One day it'll all be over. For a lot of guys, the end of the line is high school. You know, for some guys, the end of the line is college. For very few guys, the end of the line is pro ball. So enjoy the process, man. And obviously work hard. Because if you learn to work hard, that will carry over into life. You know, a lot of kids think, you know, I have conversations with kids, you know, my high school kids who aren't going on to the next level to play. They're just going to college. And then we talk about what they want to do after college and all this stuff. And, you know, most of them don't know, which is fine. Shoot, if I wasn't doing what I'm doing, I don't know what the heck I'd do. But a lot of them think if they go to college and get a degree, they'll be all set up with a job. And I always tell them, I said, that's not how it works. You know, you have to work hard. No matter what you do, the more work you put in, the more successful you're going to be. And that means a lot of hours, you know, and a lot of time. That's the way the world is. The more you put into something, the more you're going to get out, you know, and it's not easy. A lot of people say they want to work hard, but they really don't want to. You know, that's why very few, you know, do special things. So the biggest trait, the best trait someone can have is the ability to work hard and outwork people. That'll take you further than anything.
Mike, talk a little bit about this for me. This is something that's important to the whole group. When you ended up leaving high school and heading to Rutgers, you knew you were going there to play baseball. You already knew. You knew that was your place to go. So before that transition happened and you're a junior in high school, what was the road like for you as far as any other colleges? Did you go visit them? You know, was it anything nearby, any out of state? Why was it Rutgers on your end? Obviously, you know, we have the baseball end of it, but why was it the school you chose? And if there was something you learned about that you could talk to these guys about, or something you might do a little different nowadays, you know, talk a little on that.
I did have a bunch of other schools looking at me. A lot of the Big East schools at the time, which is not the Big East anymore, but like your St. John's, your Pittsburgh was an option for me. So a lot of those schools, the main reason why I chose Rutgers is, one, they were coming off a few solid years in the Big East, top 1-2 teams for like 3-4 years in a row. So I knew it was going to a good baseball program. Two, it was close to home. I'm only about 50 minutes away, north of Rutgers, so my parents could come watch me play. Friends could come watch me play, and obviously, I love the atmosphere of the school. That's another thing that kids got to realize. You can have a dream school for baseball all you want, but you have to live at that school for 3 or 4 years, sometimes 5 years. So you have to enjoy the atmosphere outside of baseball. And I love the atmosphere of Rutgers. It was, kind of a city-like school in New Brunswick. You move off campus after your freshman year, which I love the idea of that. So it was kind of an easy decision for me when it came down to it because, it had so much to offer and they were a good baseball program. So it was easy for me. It's not easy for a lot of kids. I have kids who are getting recruited and they don't know what to do, and they're taking advice from their parents or their travel coach or their showcase coach. But I always tell them, you got to make the decision because you're the one going there. Your dad's not going there. Your mom's not going there. Your coach isn't going there. You got to feel comfortable in picking the school that you're picking because you're the one that's going to have to go and live there. So.
Yes, it's so personal. It's so individualized for each athlete, male or female. Male or female, and they understand the academics, and obviously to play Division I college athletics, your SATs and GPA have to be at a certain number, both certain scale. And if you don't qualify for Division I, you still may qualify for 2. And if you don't qualify for 2, then maybe you're qualified for 3. But no matter how high of a level player you are, how good you might be in your local town and county, if you don't have those academics that you are eligible by the NCAA to play freshman year at a Division I school, it puts the coach, his hands are tied on what he can do for you. Right?
Without a doubt. I tell that to guys all the time that the better you are academically, the easier it is for the coach to get you into the school. It's as simple as that. So if you're good on that end, the baseball end will be easier if the coach wants you, So it's very important, very important.
I'm going to throw this one at you. This one's like just out of the air right now. We usually do it with most guests or whatever. At home right now, what's a thing you're doing different that you haven't really usually do? You got more time and something different you're doing that's not baseball related, some kind of thing.
Well, I always work out and I've always been into working out, but I've gotten into running, which I've always hated running. Even when I was, obviously when I was playing and training, my sprint work and all that kind of stuff I always did, but I wasn't a fan of it. I always liked the weight room a little bit more. But I've got into a lot of running long distances with my dog. I got a German Shepherd, so it tires her out and it keeps me in shape. But I never did the long distance running, man. And I'm not into video games. I know a lot of guys are like playing video games now, and I don't watch a lot of TV. I don't watch a lot of Netflix. Doing a lot of running and hanging out with my daughter. So that's pretty cool.
All right. How about a comfort food, favorite little food, ice cream, popcorn, something, whatever. What's your little
ice pops, the old school ice pops, the push pops. I still got them in the freezer. I have one every night.
There you go. That's great, Mike.
Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah.
So listen, fellas on the call, all you guys, all my Jersey Giant players and anyone else out there that are part of our family, you're all taking all this in. We've been doing a lot of these, and it's great. And I'm so happy that we've been able to, and I'm honored to be able to have these guys on, just high quality baseball people, high quality people first for me. That's important. And Mike is on here to talk to us just like everybody else. And Mike has his own baseball academy. We train at the Jersey Dugout right over in Morganville, Mike. And
okay.
It's a great place. We love it. The ownership is fantastic to us. Mike has his place up in North Jersey, and actually one of our guys, Thomas Elgram, he was up. That's the last time I saw you when I came up. It was like that hot day in the summer or whatever. And
Montclair. Yep.
Yes, Montclair State University, wherever, was having their little camp that day.
Yep.
And Thomas was actually in that camp. So just for Thomas to put a little memory in his own head and a face and a place and everything else, that's where we were that day. And it's been great. And actually, I don't know if Louis, my shortstop, if he's on this call, he had a project to do. But, you have been gracious to me on a few different occasions when I've come to see you up there. And I love your hat, the hat you have. I don't know if you have one sitting right there, but your Gold Glove hat, I passed on to my shortstop, Louis, the next day after you gave it to me or whatever, because he's my Gold Glove infielder in the organization. And he's got that little momentum of Gold Glove Academy, I don't know where you are in your office, if it's there in the building or your home office, but it would be awesome to see I don't know where it is. Where's the Gold Glove Award?
Oh, I actually got it I'm in my basement. I got it right here. Hold on one second.
Yeah, well, that should come right to the screen so all these guys can see that actual award, which is outstanding. It's, Rawlings, the company fellas, it was a tremendous award, for Mike, obviously for the Rutgers baseball program to have a guy, receive this. That's beautiful.
Can you see it?
Yeah, that's perfect. Moving a little closer, that looks pretty good right there. Yeah, there you go. That's beautiful.
I got the rings too on the side.
Oh, there's our ring. Uh-oh. That's
the
great.
hardware.
Oh, that's great, Mike. That's great. I mean, it's something, Mike didn't play the game of baseball. And in 2007, Mike didn't play the game of baseball because he was trying to just win the Gold Glove Award. He probably didn't even know there was one.
No.
To be honest with you, he played, like he said before, and his teammate who was on with us, that little guy, they played to win the game for each other. They played, for Rutgers University, and that's really, what you do because you're a competitor. You play to win. You play to win. And then these other things, they come along with it. When you practice and when you try to be perfect, and we'll use our old coaches, perfect practice makes perfect, good things will happen and the wins will take care of themselves.
Yep, and then they did that year without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Yeah, well, that team, fellas, won 42 games. They were 42-21. They played 63 games in the college season, and they hit 63 home runs. That is, which is, I think, the number 2 in the stat book at Rutgers University. And Mr. Frazier hit 22 home runs. It was outstanding. But the guy who batted after Todd, all right, had the most important job. Is if Todd doesn't go anywhere but first base, second base, what's the next guy got to do? He's got to move him over. And one of our other coaches, assistant coaches, Darren Fenster, I feel like he did an outstanding job working, especially during the winter into early spring with you, Mike, on shooting the hole through the right side.
Oh,
I'll never forget that. And understanding that I can hit the ball the other way. I can drive the ball the other way. And besides that, you were an exceptional bunter, sacrifice bunter, maybe, one of the best guys in the country that year. You had how many? 29, 30?
20 something. Yeah, it was a lot.
Yeah. So, and obviously, like I said, he played 63 games. So it wasn't like he, had a sacrifice bunt every single game. I'm not saying that you guys out there have to give yourself up every single game. But when the time called for it, Mike gave himself up, and you're obviously giving yourself up for the team. Okay.
No,
and he hit over 300. Mike hit over 300 that year and had an outstanding season. So, and then he had a chance to go on to play professional baseball, minor league organization for the Kansas City Royals. Mike, what's one thing you remember? What's one fun memory you can tell these guys about being in professional baseball?
The fun is, I would say just being on the road like that. I mean, in college, when we were at Rutgers, we actually flew a lot of places. In pro ball, you're not flying anywhere until you reach double AAA. So, I mean, you always hear about the long bus rides and how bad it is. But, though, I mean, I would kill to go on a 13-hour bus ride right now with the team. Just being around a team. There's nothing like being around a team, whether it's on a bus, in a locker room. That's something you can't replace in any part of your life. I don't care what job you have, unless you're a coach for a team, you're not going to be able to replace that kind of atmosphere. And even back at Rutgers, the first 2 trips we always did bus down to Virginia before we started flying. And I still remember those bus trips down to Virginia. I would do anything to go back to that kind of stuff.
There's nothing like those memories, like it's great,
Yeah.
And I'm sure, you bless every day that you were fortunate to be able to go through that.
Oh, without a doubt, man. I'm very thankful. I was very lucky to be a part of some of the teams and programs I was a part of. And, it goes back to enjoy it while you're doing it. Enjoy the process because it goes very fast, man. I remember when I was playing in high school like it was yesterday, and now I'm 35.
Mike, you have some teams. You have some teams at the academy yourself, right?
I don't have my own teams. We train a lot of teams, a lot of organizations, like Wayne Warriors, Pequannock Patriots, Kinnelon Colts. Those are some of the local organizations. We do Pequannock High School, Passaic County Tech High School, Wayne Valley High School, Morse Tech High School, Kinnelon Softball High School. We do a lot of the teams come to us to train.
Right.
I did have teams in the past. We had like some 13s and 14s. It just became too much for me as far as doing my own teams and training other teams.
Right.
So I kind of just stuck to the facility end, running facility and training teams that come to us. Not that we might not start up teams in the future, but it's just I like to focus in on the teams that come to us for now, which is it was a good problem to have because I got so busy with teams and lessons. So I'm kind of sticking to that for the time being.
Sounds good, buddy. Sounds good. Things are going well. I mean, you've been there for a bunch of years now. The time goes by pretty quick.
Yeah, I started Gold Glove Academy 11 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm in my new building. This is my 6th year in the new building, so it's been going great, man. I have no complaints. So it's been very good.
Well, I hope for all of us we get back on the field soon, and that'll be great.
Definitely.
I know we all want to be out there as much as we love training and either being in a cage or jumping on a mound and throwing a bullpen and all those kind of things. There's nothing better than the actual game.
No, nothing. Without a doubt. You want to be out there playing, and that's the hardest part about all this is that now is the time of the year where you're starting your games and playing in your games, and it's just taken away. So it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. And the hard part is that's taken away, but now even for yourself to train and get better, it's not easy because you're at your house. So, the most for hitters, really what you can do is just your tee work, stuff like that. I know I have a couple kids who are fortunate enough to have cages in their backyard, but most of us don't have that. So you got to get your tee work in and your short hop stuff for defense. That's really what you're limited to. So it's tough. It's not easy. But you can do your sprint work and your running, which I know kids aren't doing. I used to, when I grew up, I had on my block, I just marked out like 40, 50, 60 yards of spray paint, and that's how I would do my sprint work all day. So there's no excuse for not doing your running right now.
Mike, I can remember you, and back then I want to say Sean Windle was our strength trainer, I think.
Yep.
It was Sean Windle. But I could remember you doing the push-ups on the practice side field like your freshman year and just embarrassing all the lazy upperclassmen.
Yeah.
And
those were tough, dude. Those were tough workouts. So, man,
yeah.
I'll never forget them.
Yeah.
I will never forget them. Those were tough. People puking after.
Good times though. Good times, Mike. We've been fortunate with our organization here to have these sessions go on, and obviously the guys can't be outside, but they just want to hear from baseball players, baseball coaches, college coaches, pro players, whoever it may be. They love it. They have a lot of passion, my guys. I'm really proud of them that we usually have a large amount of guys on every call we do. And the Division One coaches, they're restricted right now. They're in the dead period. They can't talk to the high school players. So they've been on, like Rob Shepard, the head coach of Seton Hall, was on earlier today with the 7th and 8th grade guys, which has been great. We've had a couple of sessions like that. Yeah. So that's been pretty good. So usually at the end, my man Billy, who you met before we started. He'll unmute all the guys, and they want to say, thanks and goodbye, and be safe and be healthy. So and absolutely, please say hello to Jim, Kate, your brother Jay. From us, from me. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much from all of us. Thank you so much, Mike. All right. Thank you, buddy.
Black, I enjoyed it, man. Anytime, without a doubt.
Thank you. We want to get up and see you. Maybe I get a ride up there. I'll head up there and see you.
Anytime you want.
Billy, go ahead and unmute everybody. And you guys, that's a great session again. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Stay safe. Keep working hard. Enjoy it. It'll all be over soon.
Thank you.